All right, everyone, we're going to get started. So first of all, thank you for coming. Happy holidays, happy new year. Today is obviously special because we're live. Typically, these sessions are done online, and I just want to thank Uptok, CIMAi, the Yard for giving us the space to do this. And today will be super fun because we'll be building a ChatGPT custom agent. And we'll also introduce Uptok's Human On feature, specifically for media companies and advertising companies and anyone that works in a brand. All right, sorry, it's not getting started here. All right. So, and I'm not in my usual setup, so if I'm being loud online, please turn down your volume. And I will be camera off because you'll get a really weird angle of me that no one wants to see. So before we begin today's journey, I kind of want to walk through what we've covered so far with CIMAi. So we've talked about what AI is, what AI isn't. It's all probability based. It's not magic. It depends on how you train AI. Then we talked about LLMs, which is the brains behind any AI system. Then we dove into prompting frameworks. And that's the way you talk to your agent. That's the way you talk to your chatbot. That's the way you talk to anything that you build with an AI. And your output will determine your input will determine your output. And today we're going to talk about turning those prompts that you can constantly reuse without retyping those prompts every single time. And that matters because every time you use a system, you don't really want to keep typing your long prompt again, right? You want it to stay consistent. You want it to know how it needs to talk to you, what it needs to understand, the type of output that you're looking for. So where do these outputs, these structured outputs that we come up with sit? So we have the LLM, we have the RAG, we have tools that we can give an AI and that can do other things for you. Then we have agents, which are part of the operations team. And then we have you, that's the CEO of AI. And how you talk to AI, what you give AI determines what happens with you. So, and where these structured prompts sit, they kind of sit between automation. So right now we're just training our chatbot or our agent to give us a structured context so we're not typing over and over again. And in our last class, we went over the prompting framework. So we need to tell our AI the instructions, which is a clear goal. We need to give it context, what it needs to understand. If it needs to have any knowledge, we need to give it constraints, any rules, boundaries, guardrails, what it should or shouldn't say, and then any examples that you may want to have, and exactly the output specification. Do you want it in a specific format? Do you want it to, when you download it, do you want it to be a PDF or do you want it to be a document, a Word documentation? And then the evaluation loop. So you can actually use your automations, your AI to constantly improve itself by asking it questions. Okay, if I, based on everything that I've shared, how can I improve next time? So once you do that, then you can update these structured prompts and update your entire AI system. So in today's session, we'll build together a market research assistant. And I picked market research because everyone at some point has done some sort of research in their role, whether it is audience, messaging, analytics. And I specifically will be using OpenAI's custom GPTs. Nothing specific about it. I personally love OpenAI. And I do want to call it out that if you want to build custom GPTs, they're only available in the paid version of ChatGPT. I paid for it myself. It's about $20 a month, the best investment that I've made. And I highly recommend that you either choose OpenAI or any other system like there's Google, Gemini, Claude. They all have either custom projects or a similar thing where you can go back over and over again instead of rewriting the same prompt. So if you do have if you are working, if you're online, or if you're in person, I would recommend that you navigate to ChatGPT and you click on Explore GPTs here. And what you want to do is I would quickly want to walk you through the page. So when you log in here into your specific ChatGPT OpenAI login and you click on your custom GPTs, you'll see that there's top picks, writing, productivity. So these are already pre-made custom GPTs built by other people that you can either replicate and they're ready to use, or you can create your own custom GPT. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on create. And then we land on this page. So if I toggle and configure, which it naturally defaults to, this is where you basically put in your structured format of what you want out of your AI. So you give it a name, you give it a description, you give it instructions, you give it any knowledge base. So if you're building a GPT for branding purposes, if you wanted to upload your branding information, branding specifications, certain words to use, not to use, that will go on here. Then we have certain capabilities. We definitely want our LLM to be able to use web research, generate image, use Canvas, and then we have create actions. Now, this is a little bit more engineer heavy. However, we're not going to do anything with this today, but there is a way where you can link different APIs, different products to this agent, and this is where you do it. So I'll go back and we will build, I already have a prompt written for everyone. So I'm going to let you all access this in the chat, and then we'll walk through the prompt together. Someone that's online, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can open the documentation? Perfect. Thank you, Jared. Okay. So based on the framework that everyone is familiar with from last class, we want to give it clear instruction, a clear goal. What do we want it to be? It needs to be a market research assistant. And you'll notice that I've highlighted a few points. So if you wanted to take this and create another GPT, you can kind of switch the roles. So our clear goal is that you are a market research assistant supporting ed tech company. It's one of my clients, so I'm just using them as a reference. Then we want to talk about the context. We want to give it context. So as you'll notice, I said the primary market is Kenya, broader African regions. And then any specification, any context that you want your GPT to have, that's where it'll go. Then we have constraints, tones, rules, boundaries, guardrails, as I mentioned, to avoid. So I'm saying avoid making statistics. This is how you prevent your AI from hallucinating, because it'll stop and it won't guess the next predictive word that it's been trained on. Clearly state the assumptions. Avoid generic words like global ed tech. Ask clarifying questions to the user in case you are unclear. So you can get really, really specific as you're building this GPT. Yes.
The content is amazing. Is there any way to zoom in on the screen just a little bit?
Yes.
And it's a little tough to read back there. It's not you. It's
No. Thank you for calling that out, because I'm clearly staring at this. So thank you. Then I also gave it like an output specification, what it needs to actually produce from a research objective, market context. And I specifically put here, always ask me that when I'm ready to download, do I want it in a PDF version or a Word doc version? And this is where the evolution loop comes in. Identify additional inputs that would improve accuracy. So I'm asking my AI to ask me questions in case it is confused. And as your LLM asks you a question, you can always go back and update your instructions. So I just wanted to briefly walk you through what we're going to be plugging into our custom GPT.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay. So I have put a lot of information into chat myself, and I don't have my own custom GPT, but it looks like this would be in the navigation bar that you would go to that GPT when you're working with it, or how do you use this for? Does this apply to everything you do from now on?
So, for example, if you're building a specific custom GPT, it will be in your GPT section here once you're ready, once it's published. And you'll see it. You'll see. We'll walk through the whole thing, but you can come in here and it'll say like Market Research Assistant here. So then the next time you log into ChatGPT, it'll be readily available for you. All right, so stay patient with me. Let me just ask people online if they have any questions. If not, then we'll move on. Anyone online have any questions? Okay, everyone's good. All right. All right, so stay patient with me as we copy paste everything. So we are a market research assistant. So that's what I'm going to call my GPT. And we can even say for Afro Ed Tech. In description, you can type in however you'd want your GPT to be. So I'm going to say, you are my research assistant as I explore the Kenyan, God, course spelling Kenyan market within the ed tech space. Okay. And then I will be literally copy pasting all of this into my instructions. Okay. Perfect. And then you'll notice that we have conversation starters. So if there's something that you're constantly researching, so you constantly want updates on the latest mobile ed technology. So you can type something like, give me the latest mobile tech in Kenya. Let's say that you're constantly doing competitive analysis between a couple countries within the edtech space, so you can have these custom built questions. So give me a competitive analysis within educational technology in Kenya. Someone help me name other countries. Congo and Nigeria. Okay. Let's say you're a brand new company, you don't have any branding documentations, you don't have anything else, but in case you did have any company documentations, you could upload your files here. And honestly, that is pretty much it. So before I create this GPT, I also want to show you this Create tab. In case you didn't have specific instructions for your GPT, you can toggle into Create, and it can actually help you create instructions. So you basically write the goal of what you want your custom GPT to be, and it'll create instructions for you. And you can constantly go back and refine it until you find the instructions that you like. Then you can come back and configure and then update your instructions here. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and create this custom GPT. Yes.
It's better first put your prompt. LGBT, whatever.
Yeah.
And hey, could you give me the prompt to use? That didn't give me the refined prompt, and then that worked better that way.
It can. So in my example for I already knew what I wanted to build, but if you were just exploring the idea of building something, yes, that's a great way to get started. And then you can, like I said, you can continue to alter it with your specific specifications for your role or for your company. But that's a great way to get started.
Second question, in this case, we're just making a market research. So it's not giving you any decisions if you will. But let's say I'm using Fractional creating a custom right now.
Okay.
To decide A or B. Now let's say I go even the decision that ChatGPT gives because I think different.
Okay.
And I train it in my way. But in the future, whatever scenarios I give,
So I'm going to answer it in two parts. First of all, I would never rely on AI making decisions for me. So human in the loop is my base, I advocate for that at all times. And you'll see with Uptok too, makes sense. Secondly, if you're constantly finding that you like the specific way, the way it talks to you, your preferences, you can add that in your instruction and your custom GPT will learn your way, but I would always I would never let AI make decisions for me. And sorry, go ahead.
And I guess what I meant is, you always have to like evaluate it, what AI is saying, true or not, and what's real. But I want to get it to a point. So 100% of the time, get to the answer that.
I would work with it over and over again until you feel comfortable it's making the decision for you. And I would still put you as human in the loop to answer those questions. So even if you're trusting your custom GPT or any project that you create within any other platform, I would say, okay, give me your output, and I would still put you as a checkpoint to review everything. I will never advocate for letting AI do its thing. Human in the loop is still very necessary.
But then I upload multiple stuff and say, hey, here's a decision I made in this case. Here's a decision I made in this case. Now we learn that they have to think. Yes, still evaluate the decision, loop aspect, but try to get to that 100% accuracy, which by the way is not possible. But can I do that? But what you said, here's based on these 10 files, here's what I thought about this person. Based on these 5 files, here's what I thought about this person. Can I do that?
You can absolutely do that. And let me show you where you can do that and then how to prompt your instructions on how to do that. So I'll just hit create here. And then, so there's several things that pops up. You can make this GPT only available to you. So then you would say only me. You can make this available to your teammates or your friends, depending on what type of GPT you've created. Or you can even add it to the GPT store. So when we logged into the GPT, we saw a bunch of GPTs that were available. So if you created a really cool GPT, then you're like, I just want to share this with the world. That's where you would do that. But for our purposes, I'll do only me and save. Give it
Is
a
that
minute.
reversible that you could share the link in the future?
Yes. So then view GPT. Okay. All right, so I think, Lynn, you had a question where you would find the GPT. So as you log in here, where is my, refresh it.
We said it's only on a
Correct. Yeah, this is a paid subscription. So when you log into ChatGPT or OpenAI, in your GPT section, here's my custom GPT available here. I'll go back to your question. Sorry? Okay. So what you want to do is, if you wanted to edit your GPT, you'd click on these 3 dots right here. Wait a second. Come on. Okay, explore GPTs. Sorry, you go to my GPT. And then you go here, click on edit. So to your point, like if you give it a bunch of ways that works for you, however you store that, maybe it's in a Word document, maybe it's a PDF, you'd come here on knowledge base, you would dump everything here. I would carefully name my specific files. And in your instructions, I would say review files X, Y, and Z, audit what's worked for me, what's not, and give me the closest match style.
Okay.
Something like that.
I would just give my reason, my own decision.
Correct. You can say something like, before you give me an output, please review my previous discussion that are uploaded, and I would name those files specifically so it knows exactly where to reference. Correct. Exactly. And then, Lynn, going back to your question, when let's say you edited this GPT, if you click share here, you can change how you want to do that. So only me, that's what I'll go with. And then we can even talk to it here. So let's see. Oops. Actually, let me go back because I think I meant to put mobile ed technology. Okay, so let me update. And then let me refresh this. It's pretty cool, huh? There are oftentimes you can even put in the instructions before you give me an output, make sure you give me links to other resources. So in case you wanted to resource, in case you wanted to credit anywhere where you were getting your information from, then it'll give you a link for that as well. So however instructions is basically an instruction that you would give to an employee, an intern, your team. Everything goes in here. Any knowledge base is any documentation, anything, any company information, any branding information, anything that you've done in the past that's relevant to that specific GPT can go in there. And then the actions place is where you can connect different tools, link different APIs and things like that. So that was pretty much it for building a custom GPT. It's super fun. It can feel intimidating. And first of all, if you can, get the paid subscription with OpenAI because you have access to GPTs, you have access to projects. A lot of your conversations are saved. It'll remember the conversations you've had. And then to get started, you can come up with an idea of what GPT you'd want to create, get started here, get those instructions, create that GPT, play around with it, maybe give it some knowledge-based items, give it your company information, come back and refine it, and eventually it'll give you what you want.
So I know you were showing that there were other like kind of open source examples of people's custom models. Are you able to access the instructions for those models or just use them?
I think you can. I'll be fully honest with you, I've never used someone else's GPT before, but I believe you can. And that's also a really good way to see how other people have written their instructions too. So maybe you can replicate that. Oh, so there's a research and analysis section here. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me see if I do start chat. So I'm testing this with you guys. Okay, I'm not sure. Link. Yeah, so you could even share that with others as well. Does anyone online have any questions? Okay. All right, from a timing perspective, it's about 6:45, so we'll take about 10 minutes. We'll grab drinks, get some food, and then we'll come back and we'll introduce Uptok's human on. So anyone that's online, I'm going to go on mute and let's plan on coming back here at 6:55. Awesome. Great. Let me reshare my screen, make sure I'm showing the Uptok screen. Why is it going in and out? Is it because it's, yeah, why is it like zooming in and out? I know, but I don't think that. Well, let me make. I don't know if it's like wires. Okay, it's stable now. Okay. Look at me go.
One more minute to find seats.
All right, everyone that's online, give me a thumbs up if you're good to go, and we're about to get started with Uptok's Human On. All right, we're good to
Sweet, we got
go.
thumbs up. Look at that.
All right.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Wilson. And before we talk about me, Uptok, or anything, can we please give Kajal a big hand for the film? She has more hair and more brains than I do. I'm the chief strategy officer at Uptok. I've been with Uptok for about a year, but I have known the founder of Uptok, Kajal Saman, for a very long time. Very, very close friend and a mentor to me. Probably the smartest human that I've ever met. Also never remembers what day of the week it is or if he's in the right meeting. Really excited about today. This day has been a long time in the process, and we've got the best crowd. We've got students, we've got agency media professionals, we've got brand leaders, we've got data leaders, and all of this is centered around something that is very front and center for not just Uptok, but the industry at large. And that is what happens after the click. There are certain industries like injury law, healthcare, fintech, where to really kind of conduct any commerce, a conversation is necessary, right? We're not talking about selling water filters. We're not talking about CPG, and we're not talking about websites that have 1,000 visitors a month, okay? We're talking about what we feel is right at the intersection of AI and humanity, which I don't know what's more relevant right now. We're going to walk through Click to Meet, and we're going to keep this short and engaging because we want mainly to focus on the conversations that happen after this.
And so Kajal, myself, Alize, Aman, Dhruv, the Uptok team is here. Our founder is in New York, probably messing around or going to NRF, probably NRF. And so we're dividing and conquering here today, but really, really excited. I've been in e-commerce for over 15 years. I've worked for Fortune 500 brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid. Yes, I know appliances. So if you have an appliance question, I'll also take that at any given point. I know way too much about those. And I believe in this product so wholeheartedly because ultimately AI has gotten to a point where the precision, I mean, programmatic media, even if you've ever set up a Google ad in your life, which many people in this room have, if you've run social campaigns, programmatic campaigns, it's a black box, but it's a pretty amazing black box. Somehow AI, without being able to really explain it to you, except in a super optimistic way, like, well, here's exactly what I did, and you have the best ideas in the world, they are serving the right ad to the right person at the right time. And how many times have we all seen that on the presentation, right? Where that's what we're after. We're trying to serve the right ad to the right person at the right time. But ultimately, we dump them into a form. We dump them into, can you fill out these 17 fields? We dump them into the same product grids that you can find on Amazon and pretty much any B2C website today. And if you're buying water filters, as I said, if you're buying, a $15 t-shirt, you don't really probably need a human. Maybe if you're in the store and they're passing by. But when we're talking about these high consideration purchases, from insurance to equipment to technology to a vast array, where talking with a human is sort of a necessary part of the process. That's where Uptok comes in, and that's what we're really excited about. Now, to start, while we're here to celebrate AI, tonight's event is also to celebrate humans. And so what better way to start that with a few AI-generated videos? As I said, AI is delivering incredible accuracy in targeting. And again, it's very black box. How are we finding all of these people? Google won't show you their logic. Meta won't show you their logic. You can go down the list of where the major media spend goes for worldwide brands, and all of those platforms are headed towards this AI-based model. And so this is basically what I think is happening right now at ad agencies across the country that have meaningfully harnessed AI. Brands too. Anyone notice how bad that high five? I love AI videos. They don't even know how to high five. And it is. It's amazing. But what so often happens is this. Some companies spend upwards of $45 a click because their lifetime value of their customer. Think about injury law again. $45 a click? Sure, I'll pay that much if one customer pays for a month's worth of advertising, right? But again, we dump them into a form. So you see a marketing team there shouting at each other because everyone's trying to reverse engineer. And I've seen so many fancy presentations, fancy analytics folks that are trying to describe to you why the abandoned cart rate is so high, why people are abandoning their form. The form is the best. You have marketers that are like, less fields are better because we'll get more leads. And salespeople are like, okay, but if all you're giving me is their name and their email, I don't even know what to talk to them about, or if they're a customer. So they debate on how many fields that they have. Again, we have very sophisticated media. This industry leads, I would say, any other industry in terms of meaningful AI adoption. And yet we dump them into a form. We dump them into a product grid where it's a $10,000 purchase, a $5,000 purchase, heck, an $800 purchase. And we're just saying, well, we have a blog with really great articles, and we've got awesome merchandising, and our search is personalized, or whatever the heck that means. So ultimately, you get conversations between marketers that are arguing about abandoned cart rate or about the amount of people that abandon their form. And you've got the acquisition head, the person who's running all of this paid media, talking to the website manager responsible for conversion. This is kind of it's not just on the acquisition side. Companies, brands, we've seen it. They're doing amazing things with AI. That the website that you'll visit for a brand doesn't even look like the person sitting next to you. Why? Because you're different people. So it's not even just acquisition, it's also the experience. And we can iterate, and we will continue to iterate as this industry does, all the way until we can go as far as we can. But we're still going to be staring at, why do we have human beings that leave our form? Why do we have human beings that leave our product pages? So as the last line in that video was, what do we do next? Here is a brief message from a very close friend of mine, our founder and CEO, Kashif Zaman. Please tune in. I will say he doesn't say that part super well. We're talking with one of the worldwide largest motorcycle manufacturers, American brand, over 100 years. You can probably figure out who that is, as well as the single largest personalization website for making anything from photo books to mugs, wall art, things of that nature. I didn't mean to actually do that, so we'll just he just said something that I want to comment on. I do want to thank IBM and CIMAi, our partners for putting this on. Thank you very much. So let's keep going. It's very simple. Imagine that every click of your highest intent media campaigns, we're not talking upper funnel, we're not talking the brand awareness campaigns, we're talking about the lower funnel to mid funnel media that is targeting high intent buyers, the in-market shoppers, right? The super qualified leads and how good we're getting at that. You pay $40 for the click. You pay the person to run the campaign. You pay all of this money. Why would you not pay $12 for someone to initially answer their number one question, their number two concern that's stopping them from moving forward in the first place? It's an absolute no-brainer. In fact, it's just responsible. So human first media campaigns, we have made this truly simple. I've worked at software companies in the marketing space, and let me tell you, everyone tells you that implementations are easy. I can tell you that the implementation with Uptok is the single most lightweight implementation you will ever experience. It blew my mind as a professional when I came to understand how simple it was. Ultimately, if you bring media, you'll pick the audience, we'll supply the creative, and you can see different examples. We're former agency people, so we're going to present it the way that you want it presented, the way that your client wants it presented. But ultimately, this is a video clip. This is just a video clip of someone waving, saying that, hey, we're live, we're ready to talk. And when they click, it goes through to the experience, and they are connected with a sales professional. This is the human element that the age of AI has been craving. This is the part of the funnel where all of the waste goes, right? We have measurement, we have dashboards, we have all these fancy things, but ultimately, everyone's talking about how can we move conversion rate from 2% to 3%? How can we reduce abandonment from 93% to just 85%? We're all giving ourselves bonuses and going, on vacation. And so ultimately, it's very, very turnkey, very plug and play. And so we're looking for, as Kajal said, agencies and brands in high consideration categories. This is a peek. We're going to do a live demo here in a second, and we're going to keep that short in the interest of time so that everyone has time to network and have more drinks and food. But this is what a salesperson sees. And you're probably going to look at the different things around the room or around the screen here. But ultimately, the big takeaway from this image is that AI is doing all of the busy work. It's taking notes. It's employing or deploying smart flashcards that is company defined. So hey, this customer, based off their previous activity, they qualify for this sale. This customer is going to be easily cross-sold into this category. This customer has also visited this particular vertical or this particular solution page on the website 16 times. It interacts with your CRM, and obviously, as you can see right here, picks up whatever they're doing on the website at the time. There's intent detection. So Uptok can help. You can largely set these rules, but Uptok can detect, hey, this is true for every business. When that kind of customer walks in the door, it's different. When that kind of customer walks in the door, we'll make someone extremely senior available to them. We'll put our very best salesperson on them because not all customers are created equal. So AI is taking care of all of this in the background because the main thing is the eye contact, is the connection. You're not scheduling a meeting that someone put through a form, but by the way, they probably, if you have like request demo and whatever secondary CTA, like ultimately these leads are the warmest because they filled out 4 forms, and it's a delay game, and everybody gets it. The faster we reach out, the more that we're going to convert. But we lose sight of the customer experience. They're getting bombarded. This is why form fatigue exists in the first place, is because, before I fill this out, I've got a question. And as soon as I do this, I'm going to get put into the big machine of this company, and I'm going to get reached out to time and time again, right? Raise your hand if that's ever happened to you as you look to approach a form. Okay, thank you. So the warm connection, and also what we have seen is a significant increase in conversion rate of people actually filling out the form because they saw that a person was live, and they just don't see that. So let's see if there's anything. Kajal, is there anything like very specific that you want to call out about this?
No, one thing, so I'm the product person at Uptok, so you'll get to work with me as well if you become a client with us. One thing I do want to point out that everything here is customizable. So if there's a certain feature that doesn't resonate with your business, you don't need all the bells and whistles, we can take that out.
Yeah. Yep.
And something that I think our customers love is the real-time insights that people are getting from those conversations. And these conversations that you can revisit and go back to, you can watch those videos, we built a market research agent. That's market research right here when you're talking to your customers. So just 2 takeaways, everything's customizable, and our customers love that they can revisit these conversations, they can constantly learn, improve their product, and also the coupon things.
Yes. I want to nod really quickly to the analytics. Just imagine you now, for the first time ever, have access to what actually works in the sales process. You're not looking at how many times was this FAQ question clicked. You're saying you're not only hearing from your reps, but you actually have the data to say this is a major point of friction. This is, and by the way, everyone who asked this question, we upsold. That type of data is what is made available. Very, very powerful stuff. You get the call, the transcript, etc. Oh, absolutely.
What are you trying to do focus on right now for the business for this product? What is your main focus?
B2B and B2C companies that have high consideration, that are in a high consideration category. You know, you're not going to sign up with a mortgage lender without talking to someone. That's not a decision that's lightly made. That's a good B2B example. The motorcycle manufacturer, these aren't cheap. These aren't cheap. You're not buying a jacket. You're not buying a t-shirt. You're buying something that is going to be a part of your life. You know, people don't buy products, they buy experiences, and people can be the gateway to those experiences and connect on a human level like AI can't. Great, you're going to go on a motorcycle journey. You know, people want to talk to you.
What's your churn rate or
retention? We're really not in a position where churn rate is a thing. Each pilot that we have moved forward with has been carefully selected, and that's what we're trying to do now, is to partner with the right leaders on the agency or the brand side to create the biggest success story. Because, you know, ultimately, this is something that, like I said, we've tried it in a number of different environments, and we know where it works. That answer your question? Okay, thank you. Thanks for the question. So everyone wants to talk about ROAS, right? Return on ad spend. This is a study of just short of 2,700 real estate agents, real estate firms, where their average cost per click was $1.68, which is actually relatively low. Again, we've talked about some of these industries where they'll pay $30, $40 per click because the customer is so valuable. The average cost of the actual customer service or sales rep was about $40 an hour. If you run just traditional video ads, sending to a website with a form, you know, what the study saw was 2.64% leads captured. In an hour, the average salesperson booked 2 1/2-hour slots, and the percentage of no-shows was 20%. In some cases, we've seen it much higher than that, and it's normal, right? When you introduce Uptok, the idea of digital walk-ins and making that human available. Now, not every customer is going to want to talk to a human in every moment. They might come first and then come back later and talk to the human. What we have seen is that those who have engaged in video calls, they come back and they don't even navigate the website. They go right back to the video call. They want to talk to a salesperson because, gosh, that's so easier than going to the store. And many of these companies don't have physical stores. So it's the only way. It's the only way without signing up for the whole kit and caboodle. See, 6.5% of leads captured, 4 or 5 short conversations. Again, these are short, meaningful conversations, and a 0 to 5% no-show rate. And so look at what that does to the bottom line. The cost per scheduled meeting is really at $93.70. And every agency in this room is judged off of not clicks. They're judged off of results. You know, the business at the end of the day, agency too, if they're any good, you know, we're talking about not the top of funnel metrics and the middle of funnel metrics, and then forgetting about the bottom. We're talking about how much does it cost us to get you the person that you want, and then what's your close rate, right? And then what's the LTV of that customer, and what channels are we being the most successful at in this? Well, when you plug that last half mile with Uptok, look at what it does to the cost per scheduled meeting versus the cost of what, again, we call a digital walk-in. So it varies by industry. A lot of questions we get, you know, how you know, what's your typical conversion rate? It completely varies by industry, but it's relative, where we're seeing a 3 to 8 times increase in not only the bookings, people actually scheduling the calls, but also then showing up and becoming customers. And with that, I've done enough talking. I'm going to hand it over to Kajal. We're going to do a little quick demo so you can see what it looks like. It's pretty straightforward.
All right. So what I'm going to show you is what it looks like on the back end. So we don't have all the bells and whistles for the demo, but this is what it looks like on the back end. And again, you get to customize the product based on your business, the features that you want. And this is, oops. Okay, video sessions, perfect. Okay. Now this is let's say this is an insurance website, and you are looking, you see this little icon. We can customize that towards your brand, your branding colors, however you want it to see it. If I click here on the back end.
On certain key pages, like request a quote, it can be a large treatment as well, not just a little icon.
Oops. Okay. Should be getting a chat. Okay, I might have to refresh this because this is okay. Widgets hidden. Let me refresh these pages. It's been open for a while. Okay, I'm not seeing the customer come through.
It's probably because it's the same device. So
Oh, it's the same device. Okay, so you have to, okay. So let me X out of it. Should I get, sorry about that. And I can,
it's the same device, so it's
That's
like
why I
you're not
was-
trying to call yourself.
so if I pick it up, where is it?
Let go. Oh, I have to allow mine. Oh, I hit decline. Drew, can I have my laptop, please? Hey, this is declining permission for my own. Privacy is obviously something we've had to deal with, so.
Which is always a good thing. Privacy must be respected.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm an agent. I'm ready. Come on.
All right, I'm coming.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to pick up. Can you see me? Sorry about that.
And there's Kajal. Right there.
Now I'm going to say
So
bye.
again, you're paying a lot for clicks, and those visitors matter, and your targeting is on point. Talk to us.
Also, we have the option to not be on video. So if you just wanted to have a audio chat, that's also available. And as an agent, I can turn off my camera. Actually, we've had use cases where agents will not turn on their camera unless the customer says they are willing to have a face-to-face conversation. So our customers usually will ask, and you get to set up all those preferences on the back end. Cool. Well, I'm going to turn it off now.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right. Very cool. All
Okay.
right.
And with that, we want to thank you one more time for coming. Thanks again to CIMAi and IBM, our partners, for driving this conversation over what happens after the click. Again, my name is Kyle. This is Kajal, and we'll be around if you have any specific questions, want to talk use cases. That's what the rest of this time is for. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. Please have some more drinks, have some more food, and thanks again. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna
And Drew,
wrap
what's
up
it to me?
SIMA. All right, everyone, that was it for today. Thank you for hanging on. This meeting will be shared. I'll also share the deck both for CIMAi and for Uptok. If there are any questions, feel free to email me about that. Thank you. Good night, everyone.